see.
Can you hear? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
I almost had a catastrophe. My iPad was dead. I had to plug it in. It's in the wall now. I said, "Oh my God, I can't have my iPad. I can't see anything."
Oh, well, we all have catastrophes. I've got a cat in the house somewhere, the new cat,
Uh-oh.
running around after a rodent, and so it's I've got part of the house walled off at this point.
Yeah, they
And
can hide. They can really hide pretty
I know
well. Yeah.
exactly. Hey, okay, so we're here, and we just need to wait until 7 o'clock to get started.
Okay.
And I don't know if everyone got a chance to look at the packet of the bylaws I sent by email today. I mean, there's nothing new. These are, just the bylaws that we'll be interpreting today.
I
And,
did not
and
see.
oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
I wasn't home, so I just I didn't
sure.
see it.
That's fine.
George, thank you for
Okay.
sending them. I did have the chance to look at them. That was great.
Oh, that's great. And hey, and thank you. You are the Zoom hero today. Chris is having a day off, and gosh, I panicked. I thought I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
We have a great board of many talents. Um,
So
and
I think there is a problem that they have me down with the incorrect email address.
oh,
That my email is my name, Laverne Lovell, at yahoo.com. About 6 years ago, the town sent everybody new email, but I never had it set up. I don't know where it goes, but it
you
doesn't
know
come.
what, Chris should get you set up because yeah, although it really is convenient for us to use our home emails,
Yeah.
um, and it is technically we should be using the .gov email for
Yeah,
business
I'll go
team
down there
business.
and have him set me up because
That's great. Yeah,
I've been in there bothering him several times about different things.
Okay. Well, I think we are at 6:59, and I see Annette, but I don't see a picture, and I see Mike without a picture, and I see Carol and Emery. Hello, Emery, our master builder. And
Good evening.
okay, well, I think let's start the meeting officially.
But George,
the hearing.
I think we're still waiting for Nancy, perhaps.
Oh, Nancy is not able to make it. She just emailed me a few minutes ago. So yeah, so we've got a full complement here. And yeah, and I think here let's first just review where we are so that we can have a decision. And our building inspector correctly turned down the application and said that it was necessary for the Board of Appeals to review it and to determine, is this still a pre-existing structure? And if it is a pre-existing structure, that then it continues to have the right to be a two-family structure in what is otherwise a one-family zone.
Excuse me, George.
Yes.
It's Carol. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yes.
Because this is a Zoom meeting, you need
Yes.
to formally start the meeting and take a roll call
Oh, okay. Oh,
Okay.
that's you know
to
what
make an official
that's
meeting. Sorry.
okay. Good. It's good to know that protocol. And Carol, you are the master
He's
of,
on,
uh,
he's
of
on it.
meetings with all
Sure.
that planning board
Too many
experience.
meetings.
Okay, well, let's have a roll call for the record because this is being recorded. Will each member identify who they are for the record?
Nadir,
Laverne Lovell. No, go ahead.
Nadir Ahmed, full member.
Mike Donovan,
And then our applicants are here.
yes.
The Anthony and his wife, Anthony Oliva. And then we have Emery uh, from
The builder.
the builder who's
Yeah.
going to proceed and who actually submitted the application on behalf of the Olivas. So at that stage, okay, it was turned down for a number of reasons, and it's our job now to determine, does this two-family have the ability still to remain a two-family? And the testimony we've gotten so far, very straightforward from our owners, that they have not lived in the building since 2016, that it has been vacant. It's in bad enough shape. They did not feel they could rent it out to anyone in its present condition. Am I correct, owners?
Yes.
Okay. And what you would like to do is, and I'll read exactly from what you are planning to do. We want to rebuild this duplex home. It is an historic structure, but the historic commission has said they are not going to object to it being torn down. And they don't really have authority to determine your building permit. You're going to build according to the application. You're going to stay with the existing basement garage and the concrete floor of the first floor. You're going to build this within the existing footprint. And that is, so essentially, we're going to stay two-family. The building is not going to be expanded. You're staying within the footprint. And Emery confirmed that you're using that existing foundation.
Yes, the existing foundation is actually in great shape. And I didn't know this at the last meeting, but it was checked out by a structural engineer. And the building is the foundation is in great shape. The floor, which is the ceiling of the garage, is in great shape. The two floors above that are not that great. So that's what we would propose to take off, build within the same footprint. There will be no new foundations or anything put on. The decks that are on there would be the same size as what they are now.
That's excellent. And so the first thing we need to address, it's 185-12, restoration. And that basically says that if the building is destroyed for any reason, and there is less than 25% of the building's value after that destruction, that the grandfathering is lost. And Emery, you testified at the opening of the hearing, the first session, that the foundation itself is worth more than the actual value of that building. I believe it was Nancy at the time who checked the tax assessment value, and I think everyone was comfortable at the first session of the hearing, everyone on the board, that we don't really have a problem with 185-12. There will be more than 25% of the building's value left after this, construction that you're going
That's
to do
correct,
and the
yes.
partial demolition.
George,
So
can I
that-
ask, do
Yes,
we use
absolutely.
do we use the assessment value, or should we be using the fair market value? Because
Well, that is in fair market, we should, the statute says value. And that does not include under the statute the value of the land itself. It's really just the building, the way I read this. Because, yeah, I mean, the land is, I'm sure, on Farm Street worth quite a lot of money. But yeah, this seems to be focused on what was the building like before and after this demolition. And I think now we could, if the board wanted, let me hear from everyone. We could ask the applicant to go through an appraisal process for us to further verify what Emery has said. That would put this off a bit. Does anyone feel the need for that? Would you like
I don't.
anyone on the board?
I don't
Can-
feel the need at all.
Have has the applicant already done an appraisal at any point in the recent past?
No, the only thing we have on this is the testimony of Emery himself, who has testified he's got decades of experience doing these things, and is saying that the foundation itself is in great shape. He's going to use it. It seems in some ways, were we in a contested process with neighbors wanting for this not to happen, we would most likely insist on this. But we did have one neighbor who appeared at the first session who was mainly curious. I don't think there's anyone here. So I personally would not see the need in this case to insist on an appraisal ahead of time. But I'm only one of the group. If anyone on the board would like that, by all means, please speak up. Okay, well then may we show for the record that we have no problem with 185-12 for what is proposed. And again, this is not carte blanche to expand the building. They're going to stay in that footprint. They're going to use the foundation that is there. And they're going to stay with 2 families. It's not going to be 3 families.
No.
And if that's, and I see our applicants are both nodding their heads, which let's enter that in the record. I think we can go on to the next issue, which is really it's amazing how things engender lots of lawyers and lawyer fees. The next thing is 185-11. Our law is modeled on what the state statute provides for grandfather. And it says grandfathering of a structure is lost if the building has been abandoned or if the use, and I'm emphasizing the word use, has been discontinued for a period of 2 or more years. Now, it's very clear it's not really being used as a 2-family, it's vacant. And we actually have had court decisions that have examined this. And one decision that's often cited says, look, this is a bright line test. Was it used? Was it not used? And if it was not used, there are no exceptions, that it just loses its grandfather status. Now, that was a case involving lots of angry neighbors who did not want a 3-family restored, even though it had been vacant for quite a while. It involved the death of an older owner. The family didn't know about this rule, and they just left the building for a while, and then they wanted to rebuild it as a multifamily. And the court said, no, you can't do it because and they say it's not the same as abandonment. The use was discontinued, which is the precise wording of the statute. So, initially, and we spoke with our counsel, I know personally, my inclination was, even though you're wonderful neighbors and been here a long time, we don't have the ability as a board to say we're going to give exceptions on grandfathering. It's not like giving a variance for side yard application, boundary, stuff like that. We really just need to administer the law. So I asked our counsel, is there anything since that case that might be a little different in Dover? And we did find some precedent to say use is a word. Well, you certainly can look at it literally, but isn't the best place to describe use in the bylaws of the town? Does the town define use? Does the town say that use means it's occupied? And no, in fact, and this is where this is very important for this decision. We need to look at our zoning bylaws, 185-5, and they actually have a definition of use that does not require occupancy. And we'll read this into the record. This is the definition of use in 185-5. Use is the purpose for which land or a building is arranged, designed, or intended, or for which either land or a building is or may be occupied or maintained. So if we are to find that this 2-unit dwelling has continued to be a 2-unit dwelling, it's still arranged and designed to be a 2-unit dwelling, doesn't that fit squarely within the town's definition of use? In other words, our town doesn't require occupancy during that 2 years for the use to be established. And I believe Mr. and Mrs. Oliva, when you testified at the first session, you were very clear. You haven't done anything to change this design from 2-family to 1-family. It continues to be 2 units, correct, within the house?
Yes,
They just haven't been fixed up.
right.
Yes.
That's
So you didn't turn it. See, now if you had turned it into
George.
a 1-family,
George, can we
and
ask?
then we're now asking us to grandfather you back to a 2-family use. In other words, if you had abandoned the design, then you would have a problem under this 2-year requirement as it applies in the case of Dover with our bylaw, which is probably more permissive on this issue than in the case that is often cited, the case involving Lakeville. So I think here you're testifying for the record, and please say this, that the structure itself has always been a 2-unit structure, just not fixed up. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. I'm going to turn this over to my colleagues to ask questions of the applicants, of me, and let's see what our position would be, knowing that we have this position. And let me be clear, this is something, were we in litigation? This interpretation could be considered a bit aggressive in favor of the landowner, but I spoke with counsel about this, and she feels it's a reasonable interpretation with our statute, the way it is worded. Board members, please proceed.
Anthony, I think last time I thought I understood you had said that you had created like a door between the units. Was
We
I
opened,
my-
no. When our family expanded, we we opened up a wall.
Yeah.
To use one of the rooms during holidays if we had family gatherings. But it was always a separate unit. There were 2 kitchens, 2 separate bathrooms, separate laundries. That was just for convenience.
It remains that way.
But
Still
just to be
to
clear,
this day,
but
yeah.
you could walk from one to the other without leaving the building based on the removal of the wall?
We had a gate there.
Yeah, there's a door there.
There was a
Okay.
door there.
Yeah.
And actually with the it's a duplex, but there's one stairway that leads down to the garage. So there is a common doorway that leads to, there's doorways that lead to a common hallway in order for the people to get down into the garage to get to their cars. So that's always been that way, and it's going to remain that way. So that's the only thing that opens the 2 units to each other is the doors that lead to a common hallway going down to the basement. But it still remains 2 kitchens, 2 everything.
So I'm having a bit of a difficult time imagining that. So there's a hallway that leads to the garage that's a shared hallway that has doors from both units coming in. But I think what I understood from what Anthony was saying is that there's a separate door that's now inside the units that connect the units.
I think that's the door, right, Anthony, that you're referring to?
Yes. So if you walk in the front door, there's a small little alcove, and to the right would be the unit, entrance into the unit to the right.
Yep.
And to the left would be the entrance to the other unit. And so when we initially purchased the property, my dad, I thought, was going to take one side. So we had it cleaned up for my dad, and he never came. And then our family got a little bigger, and trying to deal with that, we decided we needed a little bit more space. So we opened the wall just so that we could get into that space, not live in it as a single family, but if we needed it for holidays, we would use it. But it still had, it was designed as a duplex that was never changed.
And if anyone has a question about 2 family, what happens when it's the same family? There are actually court cases addressing that, and it's really not relevant. People who are related, it can be a mother-in-law and a married daughter on the other side. If it's set up as a 2-unit, the fact that the occupants are related won't matter for this purpose. Although that has been argued at various times. Are there any? Yes, Laverne.
Well, I don't find any problem with the duplex or the Olivers, and I've sort of written a motion, but you might be not ready for that yet, because it looks like Mike has something to say. So I'll hold my motion till later. Mike?
Yeah, just for Anthony and Annette. Over the time period that nobody was actually living in the in the 2-family, what did you do to kind of check in on it, to make sure that maybe the water pipes were still, running okay? Maybe in the wintertime you went there to check around, see if there are any burst pipes, check the toilets, still making sure there's nothing wrong there, or maybe making sure, I don't know if you have natural gas there, or I believe you had an oil tank, making sure the oil tank's not leaking. Any type of activity you conducted while nobody was living there?
Yes, well, we lived next door, and the house was sort of like a storage facility for things that we didn't move to the new house. Plus, we had lawnmowers there, a snow blower, shovels, bikes. So cars, uh, we would go in regularly just to make sure there were no squirrels in the house. But clearly, we had no idea that there was this rule that if you're not living in it, you could lose the rating of it. So, but the well, everything was always checked. We didn't have, I mean, it's still standing. It's just dilapidated. And the weather has, unfortunately, with the roof, it's created a problem. And so we're trying just to, preserve it. Unfortunately, it's sort of like you got to start from new. But luckily, the foundation, the basement, is built like a fortress, and it can support a new structure.
But in the end, you did go into the house on a certain periodic basis, and checked around and made sure everything was doing okay.
Well, yes, we lived next door. We had young kids. We'd do Easter hunts, and I mean, it was right. It's 30 seconds from our house, a walk. So it's hard to ignore something like that. You if you care about things, you check on it. So yeah, it wasn't abandoned in that respect.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome, Mike. You're welcome.
great. Now we've got, we really should be doing this as two motions.
But hold on, George, can I ask one more question?
Yes, certainly, please.
So I'm just trying to figure out, right? Like sort of if we adopt an interpretation of the statute that basically says design is enough, at what point would there ever be kind of a disuse of it, right? So like a thing will always be the thing, even if you ignore it for indefinitely, but then presumably unless you've sort of moved or changed the building, it would presumably have not been used. But yet you're saying, listen,
Yeah,
I
it's a
think
good
I will.
question. Yeah, well, I mean, I think with this, let's say that it had been converted to a single family home. And then later, the market improves for condominiums. Let's redesign it again now to make it a two-family. I think the design would have been abandoned, but this basically, in some ways, I think is a common sense interpretation. It's the owners bought it as a two-family. It's always been designed as a two-family, and um, and in terms of the town itself, whether someone has inhabited it or not, would that be as relevant as the fact that the building continues to be a two-family? When you drive by it, it is still a two-family. There's no so I think in some ways it's a fair interpretation uh, and does not really hang up an owner who has always thought of it as a two-family and has done nothing to turn it into a one-family with the desire to then switch back. Um, but that's my personal view. But I can understand that. Not my guess is Mr. and Mrs. Oliva probably thought that was the law without even reading the law. That you thought it was a two-family. Uh, that Emery, you've got your hand up.
Yes, so it does remain to be a two-family. It has two kitchens. If I were to build a home in today's world with two kitchens, I need two-family zoning. So it is the other kitchen has never been torn out. It's still there today. So it has remained as a two-family, regardless of how you look at it. I cannot build a house with two kitchens without the proper zoning. So
Yes, that's it. Um, are there other comments or questions? Because if so, we also have to address the building inspector's concern that the dwelling itself, as it presently is constituted, uh, does not meet dimensional requirements in terms of boundaries. In fact, hang on just a minute. What he said, bear with me a minute. He said the footprint does not meet setback on the left side and the front. Well, I think first, if we determine that this is a grandfathered dwelling, there is no question that, in my mind, that we continue, and this would be under 185-17, that the building continues to have a grandfathered right to the same setbacks that were there for decades. So we do first need to have a motion. And Laverne, since we're going to put this in the record, I'd like this, if you don't mind, to be sure that we cover the statutes the way the building inspector has outlined them. And I want to be very clear. We are not being critical of the building inspector
He's
he
just doing
did
his
his
job.
job. He
Doing his
did his
job.
job, and he said, if you're going to do this, you've got to have a finding from the Board of Appeals that this is a grandfathered structure. So he did exactly the right thing.
So let me ask you a question of Emery. Emery,
Yes.
does the new or the rebuild of the two-family, does it do anything to expand the current nonconformities?
Not one bit. It'll remain at the same exact setbacks that it is right now.
Okay.
There'll be no
That's a
change in the
very good
setback.
question, Mike.
Okay.
Very good question.
Yeah, and as far as the left side, they actually own the property to the left side, but the building won't change one bit. The setback lines wouldn't change from what they are to what they've been for decades.
Okay, thank you.
Does the current setback reflect any sort of safety concern? Because I think it's very close to the road if I'm thinking of the right building as I've driven by on Farm.
It's close to the road, but it doesn't present any safety concerns that nobody's ever ran off the road in the house. So I don't see that it would ever be a problem. Plus, that's not that road has some pretty strict speed limits on it, so you're not doing like 70 miles an hour around the curve, So I would say that it does not have any dangerous effects with the current setback.
Thank you.
Actually, are there other questions or comments? And Laverne, yeah, you certainly can proceed with a motion.
Well, no,
and
I want to wait till everybody's finished talking and then
yes,
you can go with the motion and add in all the things that I left out, which
okay,
would be the technical items.
that's right. Yes. Okay. Are there any other questions of the applicants? And if not, we are ready for a motion. And
Okay.
Laverne, proceed.
I would like to make a motion to overturn the building inspector's denial of the Oliver application for 8 and 8A Farm Street and allow the grandfathered, I had to add these words in, grandfathered rebuilt on the existing footprint with a special permit per section 185-11 and to be built according to the plans submitted with the application. And I also say that the new structure will definitely be not more detrimental to the neighborhood.
So moved.
I just amend that slightly, and it would be possibly just add a little extra.
Yes, I that.
Yeah, yeah. It's, yes, because, yeah, again, yeah, the motion is to find that the building continues to have grandfathered status
Mhm.
as a two-unit structure,
Okay,
uh, subject to building on the existing footprint and foundation, and not expanding use beyond two families.
okay,
And further moved that the setback, uh, 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 that is further moved that the non-conforming setbacks are grandfathered, uh, and um, and then I think that would be the motion. So we're approving it as a grandfathered structure, and we are approving the setbacks, which are non-conforming, as being grandfathered also. Um, um, does if is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second,
Okay, I think you can vote aye, nay, or forget about it. but all in favor, please say aye.
aye,
aye,
Aye. Though, George, I think we
Okay.
talked about needing to go individually, right? From at least
yeah.
the last
Roll
meeting.
call,
Yes,
please.
that's
Yeah,
exactly
sorry.
right. You know, I'm still
No, no.
antediluvian, presume. You're absolutely right. So each member, uh, please identify your name and say how you vote.
Okay, Laverne Lovell, yes.
Nadir Ahmed, yes.
Mike Donovan, yes.
And George Chimento, yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Well, you bet. Thank you. Good luck. I'm looking forward to seeing a lovely new structure there. And
That's great.
I think at this stage, we might be in a position to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
George, should we
moved.
no,
Oh.
but should we adopt the meetings, the meeting minutes? I thought I saw that on the agenda.
Oh, okay. Now these are minutes that predated.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. They predated my joining. Absolutely.
No,
Thank you.
I think these are
It's
the ones
good
from
that
last
you are
meeting.
here.
And I believe these are the meeting minutes from the last meeting, the first part of our conversation with all of us.
Gee, the minutes that I saw.
Is that right? Maybe I'm mistaken.
No, they were the minutes that was circulated, at least that I saw, went
No,
back
you're right. I
to an
apologize.
earlier time, and I was a little confused by that, but
You're absolutely right. Okay.
yeah. So I think I don't know who was on on the board, and in fact, you know, if there is confusion on it, and Chris is not here today, we
Sure.
could postpone that minute approval,
Minutes,
because
yeah.
I think we should be looking at minutes for the first day of the hearing. Actually, that would be something for us to look at. I don't know if they've been prepared yet.
I
Alicia
know
does-
that.
Alicia does them. She
Yeah.
types them.
Yes, yes,
I
yeah.
think we've talked about these ones before, and so I have
Yeah.
reviewed them, and I would be willing to make a motion to adopt the minutes as written as reflected, and that they reflect the conversation that they purport to reflect.
Second,
Sure.
Aye, all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
And I'm not voting because I was not here at that time.
So
You
Nadir
might,
Ahmed,
you might just
Nadir,
want to include in the motion the actual date of the minutes that you're approving.
sure, that's a
Yes.
fair point. I move to adopt the minutes from the meeting on February 14th, 2024, and a motion that they further move that they reflect the substance of our conversation during that meeting.
second,
Second, third, whatever.
Okay, everyone,
Nadir,
everyone
yeah.
just those who are here, identify your names
Yeah.
and that you're approving.
Approving the minutes?
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess you have to
Laverne.
say your name.
Laverne Lovell, I approve.
Okay.
I-
All set. Do we have everyone?
Na-
Okay.
Nadir Ahmed, I approve.
Yeah.
Mike Donovan approves.
Okay. Then the minutes for this meeting will reflect that. Well, I think we made good progress in this in a relatively short time. Got
So, George, are you gonna be writing the decision?
yes,
Or
what
will
I
the town council do that? Will Chris do that? Chris,
well, I think what I will do, and I'm a bit parsimonious on the town's legal fees. I'll probably have a first cut, and then
have them look at it,
address
yeah.
that with council and then circulate that to all of you. But I think we're all set. Okay.
Thank
time
all
to-
of you for
time to-
your
time to get
consideration.
home.
I thank you very much.
Hey, George,
Well,
there's there's also a waiting period for the Olivas for,
20 days, right?
right, it's like a 30-day waiting period,
I thought it was 20, but maybe 30.
right? For anybody that, wants to challenge the decision, they can, submit a formal challenge. And,
Yes.
After that period is over, then the decision becomes final.
that is correct. Yes. So, but the best thing is, of course, to get a draft of that decision now, showing exactly what we found and what statutes we were dealing with. I think that's important. Okay, I think that's it. Everyone,
Thank you so
let's
much.
go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
Thank you, George.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Yes.
Thank you, George.
Thanks, George.
Yes.
You
Thank you
bet.
very
It's been
much.
really been a pleasure, everyone. Okay.
Thank
Same
you.
All right,
here.
good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.